Okay, this is not a very comfortable place to sit, but it'll have to do. So my last video was about exercise compulsion, and I want to talk a bit more about that. Actually, I think there's a lot that I could say about it, but in particular I want to talk about earlier in my recovery. Okay, my dad is now watering the garden, so this isn't going to work that well. I want to talk about earlier in my recovery when I stopped going to the gym, which was a really big deal for me, very difficult. I'd been really addicted to going to the gym for a very long time. And in my last video I talked a little bit about what exercise compulsion feels like, but for me in particular it felt quite hard to detect because I genuinely thought that I enjoyed going. But in the end it was undermining my health, and so even if I thought I enjoyed going, I needed to stop. And already my parents had asked me to stop going to the gym, and I had slowly reduced the frequency of my workouts, but I still hadn't stopped. And I think that slowly reducing it did help me to actually put a stop to it for good for a while. Although some people do say just go cold turkey immediately and quit. So I think what brought me to the decision to stop going to the gym was basically my commitment to recovery increased, probably through an initial bit of weight gain and eating more, and also just there were indicators that my bones and my muscles were not benefiting from the gym at all, in fact quite the opposite. And also I read research articles, which I talked about in my last vlog, which really helped as well. Basically in animals, food restriction combined with overexercise will drive them to death, which is the same thing we do as humans when we have anorexia and we're over-exercising. And there are other consequences as well that are less dramatic than death, but really terrible as well, that if you're exercising and not eating enough, you will suffer muscle wastage, loss of bone density, increased fat accumulation, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but a thing that happens, and also risk of heart failure as well. Those are the reasons why I realized I need to stop the gym. My own bones were suffering. I had a bone density scan done and I could feel that my heart was not doing great, and there are also signs in my liver that my muscles were wasting. But even if you don't have those indicators, it's really about, if you would feel guilty taking a day off from the gym, or a week off, or a month off, or 3 months off, maybe you should consider taking a break, because guilt and exercise, I don't think, should coexist in any form. Okay, I'm gonna have to take a break now because I'm going to the park to see the sheep. That always makes me happy, and I have not had a great day today. But then I'll talk more about how I actually stopped going to the gym.
Meh.
Okay. Oh, I can't see sheep. Basically, I stopped going to the gym and it was really, really hard. I think it's really helpful if you can have people who can keep you accountable, and for me that was my parents, and so we had a shared membership. So they hid the little gym access card, so I didn't even know where it was, even if I wanted to go to the gym. In the past I definitely would have done some other form of exercise, probably without telling them, but this time I was committed to recovery and I knew that wasn't going to serve me, and so I didn't exercise, I didn't go to the gym. Even when the tag reappeared, I still didn't go. And I've written a blog post about when I stopped going to the gym as well, which I'll link below. But I definitely still had a lot of thoughts and a lot of urges to exercise in some way. When I felt urges to go to the gym, I would journal what I was feeling and thinking, because often I would get the thoughts in my head like, oh, you should exercise, like, what are you doing? You need to go do exercise. But then writing it down, it was much easier to rationalize what I was thinking. And in my journal, like here, there's an instance where I didn't go to the gym, but I thought about it all day, got changed, put my sneakers on, locked the front door, ready to go. And I thought, what's driving this decision? Will I actually feel good after going? Why am I going? What am I trying to achieve? And I was trying to achieve recovery from my eating disorder that was based in restriction and overexercise. So going for a walk, whatever, would obviously be counterintuitive to that. So I wrote in my journal that I realized that I wanted to get out of the house. My anxiety was quite high because I was worried about dinner, and I didn't want to be sitting around contending with my anxious thoughts. I thought about how going and doing exercise would make me feel deceitful, because I knew that then I would be lying to my parents, which I really didn't like doing. I also didn't want to lose weight, and I was already struggling to eat enough, so why would I work against that? So journaling really helped me. When I did stop going to the gym, I realized that there were so many benefits from stopping exercise as well. For so long I had been getting up really early to work out, and then finally I got to sleep in, and my sleep was also a lot better because I was eating more, so I wasn't waking up really early feeling hungry. I also had more time to get things done in the morning because that time was previously blocked off for the gym. I could get a lot more done in my day. I also learned that eating and not exercising wouldn't cause huge changes in my body, and I think that is a really important belief to uncouple as well. I also wrote that the strong urges to go to the gym subsided a lot faster actually than I anticipated. Initially they were really strong, but they did dissipate quite quickly, and although I would have fleeting thoughts of going to the gym, it got easier to dismiss those thoughts quite quickly. Right there, I look basically the same, although a little healthier. I was also teaching my brain that it's totally okay to eat breakfast without exercising first, which had been a difficult thing for me. I also used to have the thought that I needed to exercise in order to feel hungry. So in order to make myself eat, I needed to exercise, which is not true. That sort of twisted eating disorder thinking, I think, has been common throughout my eating disorder. I think that I'm acting against the eating disorder, but actually I'm not. And I wrote that whether I exercised or not, I still felt hungry and I still could eat. I also noticed that my eating disorder thoughts and compulsions on the whole were weaker when I stopped going to the gym. And I didn't know whether that was something biological or because of the messages that you sort of observe in the gym. Like there's a lot of looking in the mirror, there's a lot of body comparison, there's messages sometimes on the walls, and just diet culture is often a bit rampant in gyms, and it was a relief not to have to see that anymore. I also found that I was less attracted to the ideal toned figure that I had been searching for and working for a long time through gym going, because I wasn't seeing that so much anymore, and I wasn't comparing myself to the people in the gym anymore. I also started thinking a lot less about exercise, which was a relief. I had more headspace for other thoughts. And it also meant that in my recovery I didn't have to manage exercise in addition to food, like just no exercise, just focus on the food, which is a lot easier to deal with. I also learned that fitness isn't who I am as a person. It doesn't define me. It had done for a long time. Well, in my head it had, but my friends still liked me. I am still me when I don't exercise, and I'm also became a more interesting person because I developed other interests as well. And I finally felt like I was treating my body with respect and actually nourishing it properly, which in itself is a hard thing to do because the eating disorder voice and depression as well sort of tells you that you're not good enough, you don't deserve to look after yourself, etc. But sometimes we have to fake it till we make it, I guess, and pretend that we care about ourselves, treat ourselves as we would, if it was someone else's body or someone else that we're looking after. And I knew that exercise would only prolong the starvation that my body had been through and prolong the physical and mental suffering caused by anorexia, so that really had to stop. And when you stop exercising, it doesn't need to be forever. You can also, what I did was take it one day at a time. Just today, I'm not going to go to the gym, or just right now, I'm not going to go to the gym. Maybe next hour, but not right now. And just keep it going for as long as you can. And I think you'll be surprised to find that you can keep it going. Future, absolutely. You can return to movement slowly and in a way that means I'm held accountable to other people. So doing movement with other people, for example, is a good way. I think someone, maybe Dr. Gaudiani, recommended that incorporating exercise as a part of recovery can be quite useful, so that you learn how to exercise in moderation if that's something you want to do. It doesn't have to be a part of your life. But so she, for example, suggested exercising with someone else, so they can check up and you can check that you're not exercising rigidly and it's joyful movement rather than working out per se. But stopping exercise has definitely been so helpful for recovering from my injury, for example, when I can't exercise and rest is all I can do. And also for times like when you're traveling and you don't want to have to fit in compulsive exercise, like what a pain. And you don't want to have to walk everywhere. You don't have to worry about how not exercising might be affecting your body because it's just actually a non-issue. Anyway, so those are just some thoughts on exercise compulsion, and I'm happy to talk about it more, but I hope that's helpful. And if you are going through weight restoration, going through recovery, and you're not sure if you should exercise or you shouldn't, probably the answer is to not exercise. That is the safer option for us. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you're doing well. Sending you lots of love, and I'll record again soon. Bye.